Hi everyone and welcome back to 5 Minute Family Search. So here we are on the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Nationwide Gravesite Locator. And if you look here in the middle of your screen, there are two ways that you can use this page. So here it says cemetery and you see it says all. I can come in here, if I know where a relative of mine is buried, I can just come in here and I can click on one of the cemeteries and I could enter in their last name right here. Now you'll see that it says last name is required, first name and middle name, date of birth, date of death, and then here is your go button. Now you know me, as I've explained in previous videos, I like to keep everything really open. So I am just going to come back up here to the top and click all. And I'm just going to put in a name of a family member. So I know that my grandfather, Albert Vriesacker, who we talk about a lot, was in the Army. So I'm just going to put in Vriesacker. I'm going to leave it exact match. So my options, I can leave it exact match or I can say begins with. So if I'm looking for an ancestor and I'm not quite sure how to spell their last name, I can just put in a few letters and click begins with, and then it will go through and search all the information. So again, I'm not putting in a first name or a middle name or any other information. I'm just going to put in Vriesacker and search every cemetery. So let's go ahead and click go. And when I do, it brings me up to my grandfather. So it tells me that his name was Albert Gustav Vriesacker. He was a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army. He served in World War II. His date of birth, his date of death, and it tells me where he is buried, and he's buried in the Northern Wisconsin Veterans Memorial Cemetery. So here I can click on that and I can go to the cemetery and look at their information, or here I can view a map of the cemetery. Now, as I told you, it will show you who the veterans are, and it will also show you if there are family members buried there. So this is his second wife, Betty Vriesacker, and she is buried at the cemetery as well. And so here is all of her information, and it tells me that she was the wife of Albert Gustav Vriesacker. So that is how I can go in and find information. Now, let's go back. Let me take you back out. And I am going to erase Vriesacker. Now I know that the Tainters, who are a family name, were very concentrated in Wisconsin. And so again, I'm just going to leave it very open. I'm just going to search all cemeteries with Tainter last name, and I'm going to go ahead and click go. Now when I do, it brings me up here. Now I can look and it tells me that there are 21 names found. So a little trick, if I hit Control F, it's going to bring me up here to this search bar. So Control F will do that. Now I'm just going to go ahead and type in WI for Wisconsin because that is the abbreviation for the state, and it will highlight on my page anything that has Wisconsin. So I can see this first one, and I know that these are all family members and they're in my tree. So Dean Tainter, I can see that he was a sergeant in the U.S. Army and it has his information. All of these, and like I said, I did the Control F, and so it highlighted them. So I can just quickly scroll through the page and I can just look at whoever has Wisconsin. Now this says wife of Tainter and it has the WI, so I'll just disregard that one. But anything here that does have Wisconsin, I can take a look at and see how they fit into my family tree. Now when I come down here, I'm on page 1. When I come to page 2, that search is not going to be there anymore. So again, I'll have to hit Control F and type in WI for Wisconsin and ignore the ones that aren't Wisconsin. But here I can go again and I can look through these and see which of these would fit into my family tree. So this is a very good resource to have if you do have family members who are veterans and you don't know the exact cemetery they're buried in. You can go in just like I did and put in a last name and it will pull all of them up. If it's too broad, then you can go in and start narrowing it down, but this way you won't miss anybody if you do a general search. But again, 6.5 million burials in over 320 national and state cemeteries is a really great way to look for your veteran ancestors.